Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another beautiful Wednesday with us on Live with Lloyd. I am your host, Numerologist Lloyd Strayhorn. I have a most interesting guest in a few moments. But before I bring him on, I do want to let you know that that the shows are being sponsored by Manifest on Purpose of Miss Kimberly. Just go to YouTube or the podcast and see it there. The show is also sponsored by Jazz Aphrodite. The books will be forthcoming soon. There are limited editions, and people who understand the value of books know that the more limited the books, the more valuable they are. That's how it works when anything is rare, like a diamond. And also, Brother King Simon, my buddy, he's going to be in New York in April 13th and 14th. We're going to be showing a flyer about that. But in the meantime, he is one of our regular sponsors. Before I bring on my guest, let me tell you about the forecast. And first of all, please like, share, and subscribe. Also, I will never DM you for monies or anything like that. So I'll talk about that later. Evidently, there's somebody who says I'm getting popular because somebody else tried something anyway. But anyway, we'll talk about that later. But today is Wednesday, March the 6th of 2024. The sun is in Pisces. The moon is in Capricorn. It moves into Aquarius at 7:38 p.m. So by the time this show is over, for those of you that are having children born after 7:40, their moon sign will be in Aquarius. But until that time, the moon will still be in the sign of Capricorn. So probably the moon is void, of course, which means it's kind of in a state of limbo, getting ready to make a transition from one sign into the next, like called the cusp period. It is an 11 universal month, a 3 universal week, and 8 universal days. So those under the signs of Capricorn, Aquarius, and Libra, like my guest, or those that are born on the 6th, the 8th, the 17th, the 15th, the 17th, the 24th, and the 26th of the month, well, they are likely to do well. Everybody, I want to thank you very much for joining us. The guest I had on Monday, boy, she got such a response. She was so appreciative. And I want to thank you very, very much for that. All of my guests get a great response, and this person will be no exception. This is Brother Dr. Baruch. Dr. Baruch, how are you, sir?
Very well, Brother Lloyd. Very well. Thank you for having me on.
Yep. It's interesting because you were number 2 by birthday, right? You're a sign of Libra, but you're number 2. And 2 deals with food. And in Capitol Heights, Maryland, you have a very interesting, I think it's a vegetarian restaurant, if I'm not mistaken.
Plant-based soul food restaurant. Yes, indeed.
Okay. Tell us, how did you get involved with getting into the restaurant business anyway?
Well, depending on when you want me to start, I'll go back to when I got into the restaurant, not when I got into eating this way. So in 1995, Brother Lloyd, I was in IT. I was an IT professional, connecting up computers, making sure everything is talking, making sure presentations were going right. And I happened to be at a food convention, and I was making sure the computers and everything was connecting as it should. And there was a young lady practicing her speech at the front of the room. And as she practiced her speech, and it was appropriate for her to say for her venue, it didn't mean to her what it meant to me when she said it. But she said, when you control a man's food, you control him. And how she was talking was business. How I was talking or listening was in the space of health.
Yeah, that's a whole other mindset. What did she say again?
She said, when you control a man's food, you control him.
Well, that's exactly what's happening with the food supply, supposedly with things being controlled with the food. These multimillionaires buying up farmland and everything like that. They wanted to alter. Go right ahead. That's so interesting.
Right. So what it is that she was probably speaking about is if you can get them to buy the burger, you can get them to buy the fries. You know, so it was more business related. Her lecture. My hearing it was more on a spiritual, vibrational, metaphysical. Wait a minute, we all fat and sick and dying early. I was on the health tip. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm listening to that, and immediately, at the point that she said him, at the end of that sentence, I said, dang, I've got to open up a restaurant. And within 2 weeks, I had 21 products, ingredient like products that I was selling out of my garage to 5 different households on my way to opening up the Everlasting Life restaurant, which opened up now 29 years ago in 1995.
And
So
you're
we've
born
been.
on the 29th. That's interesting.
Mm,
In 1995, adds to 24, which is the 6 that governs Librans. I
mm.
see numbers in a kind of way. Hold up. You mean within a matter of weeks of hearing that woman just say that sentence,
Oh, yeah.
you had
Yeah, I was
actually come up?
obsessed. I was obsessed. I said, there's no way. I'm living in a neighborhood where ambulances were coming through my neighborhood all day long, and nobody was getting shot. Nobody was getting run over by cars. Nobody was falling out of trees. No accidents were taking place. This was people having health events associated with their lifestyle,
And being
or
rushed
as
to
a
the hospitals.
yeah, they would, high blood pressure, heart disease, diabetes, and those chronic illnesses were the reason why these ambulances were coming through my neighborhood all day long. I said, this is ridiculous. And then I started seeing the ramps being built on homes, and I said, well, wait a minute. This is, we're getting bigger. I can see that my neighborhood is getting bigger. Everybody's got a big, huge SUV now because they can't fit in the little 2-door or the 4-door compact. So they get
Yeah.
these huge vehicles to fit them. And meanwhile, all that we're doing, everything that we do in our community, it's about food. Food has got to be a part of it. So I'm watching as I'm going to these different activities and events in my neighborhood that, wait a minute, you all aren't seeing what I'm seeing? Everybody is getting huge. Everybody's on pharmaceutical drugs. And so I had been, doing plant-based since the late 70s. And so this was, I didn't look like them. I didn't have the
Mm-hmm.
issues that they had. I still
Mm-hmm.
don't have the issues that they have.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I said, well, it's up to me. I can't just leave my children to a world where the people outside of them don't have access to healthy food, because my children ate healthy. That's all we allowed in the house. As a matter of fact, our mantra was, if it wasn't healthy, then it's not food. It doesn't matter how good it tastes. It doesn't matter how inexpensive or convenient it is. It doesn't matter how much you're accustomed to eating it. If it's not healthy, it's not food. So we wouldn't eat it then. And of course, the children would come to our house, and they would, when it was time to eat, the children would gather at your house. When it was time to eat, all the children would go back to their houses because they were like, man, y'all eating celery and carrots again? Yes, they are.
Wow, wow, wow. So you said your restaurant is now celebrating its 29th year?
And yes, indeed. 29th year.
Wow, wow, wow. Well, let me tell you why. There's a reason why I have this distinguished gentleman on. In fact, this Saturday, I'm going to be here at his restaurant right there in Capitol Heights, Maryland. And
Yes.
he reached out to me, and I'll be there. So for those in the DC, what they call the tri-state area there, DC, Maryland,
And
Virginia,
Virginia.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
DMV.
DMV. Yeah,
Yep.
DMV. Okay. Um, so anybody in those areas or close by, I'm going to be there this coming Saturday, March the 9th from 6 to 9 p.m. All right. And this elite restaurant located at 9033 Central Avenue, Capitol Heights, Maryland. And please register. And this way they can register there at the bottom at lifecenterhamptonpark.com. All right. And in fact, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to actually, let me do this a second. The banner is going to be running at the bottom of the screen so you can see. Also, there's a phone number attached too. All right. Let me see. Did I do this correctly? Yep. Okay. A lot of little things you got to do. See, that's what we're
Right.
talking about when you're trying to do things live and stuff like that. But I got this. I got this
Yes,
now.
sir.
There we go. There we go.
Mhm. Great.
And there will be a phone number coming at the end of it. It's 9033 Central Avenue, Capitol Heights, Maryland, 20743. Register at lifecenterhamptonpark.com. And the number is 301-324-6900. And in fact, I was very impressed with what I saw, because this is, and I mean, this looks like there's a whole lot of people up in there.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We've had a lot. We've a lot going on in this little place. We're excited about being able to host different speakers and different events and activities. We've had from music to lectures. It's been quite an honor to be able to host, the likes of yourself and others to come in and share your wisdom to elevate and empower our community.
Yeah, so it's also food for the mind too, as well as the stomach.
Yep.
You know,
we call it the communiversity.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, when people go to the website, lifecenterhamptonpark.com, can they see the menu of what you offer there at the restaurant?
Okay, so the Life Center is actually the event space. The restaurant is eliferestaurant.com. So that would be the website for the food side. So we have two different sides in here. I was the crazy guy who decided to rent the space next to the restaurant.
Really?
Yeah.
Now I gotta see. Now I've got to do something else. While we're talking, I'm gonna make it. And you said it's Elife, Elife.
Restaurant.com.
Okay. And then that way they can see the menu, delicious menu, Elife.
Yeah.
Restaurant.com.
And we've been plant-based. And Brother Lloyd, every time I'm brought out to speak, I am the only representative, whether it's all vegan or all whatever, or just black owned or what have you. I am the only restaurant who makes it. This is our mission, was to take healthy food, wrap it inside of soul so that we could attract the people who like soul food. And that's us. And it's been our mission ever since the beginning. It is still our mission. When you stand inside of our restaurant, that's who you see coming in here. You do see others, but who you see primarily is those melanated brothers and sisters looking for some soul food, but they want something that tastes kind of like what they were accustomed to at mama's house or grandmama's house, but they want it to be healthier. And we give them that healthier alternative.
Well, listen, I think that's wonderful, man. And because we all got to eat. Okay, yes. I don't care who it is, where they come from, what their age, everybody's got to eat. And I guess this is why Elijah Muhammad one time wrote this book, How to Live to Eat, How to Eat to Live. Thank you. One and two. About the importance of eating, when to eat, what to eat, what not to eat, and things like that. Did you ever read any of his books? Oh,
absolutely. Yeah, that was a necessity. All of the health writings back in the day, I had those under my belt. And it's very interesting to come up today and see how few people, of course, have read those books. They're not getting it by way of video, but they don't have the depth of knowledge of what it is that we're doing and why we're doing it. And see, Brother Lloyd, our audience may not be ready to hear it, but food has been used as a weapon in our community, and you think about the plethora of bad for you food restaurants. I've got names for them so that we can appropriately associate them with what they're doing to us. And I'll go down that list if you don't mind.
Please do.
Crackdonald's, Murder King, Taco Hell, Wind Disease, Chokers, Bow Strangles, the International House of Pulmonary Heart Disease, Slop Eyes, and Sick Filet.
I don't mean to laugh. Could you repeat that list again, please? Okay. And it's no insult to their industry. It's just that we normally walk away the worse for it.
Yes.
Not the better for it.
Yes. And that's Crackdonald's, Murder King, Taco Hell, Wind Disease, Chokers, Bow Strangles, the International House of Pulmonary Heart Disease, Slop Eyes, and Sick Filet.
That's interesting. There was one report that this Chick-fil-A or whatever had so many ingredients in it that if you knew what went into it, you'd be surprised. And they said, what do they put in it? The people seem to be so addicted to going to that establishment.
Right.
They also did a thing about a McDonald's where a guy had what did these guys with the flamethrowers and whatnot? You know, like
Yeah.
in Canada, he tried to burn the hamburger wouldn't burn and it wouldn't dissolve and everything like that. So, you know, it's not that we're talking bad about these things. It's just that we have to consume these things. And you would think, because it's very, very expensive to get sick.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, that's what they say. They say eating healthy is expensive. It costs too much. I can't afford it. But try not eating healthy and see what that'll get you. And see how expensive that'll be, especially towards the end of your life, because it's what brings you to the end of your life. Lord, when you and I were children, we remember going to Big Mama's house or grandma or granddaddy, and they lived to be old and then they died.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what we're accustomed to is people get sick and die. We don't ever get old and die. We get sick and die. And that's that we're the only
And it's long term too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Chronic illness is quite popular. Once we hit like 28, 29, normally they've got us on some chemical. You know, they figured out what chemical they could give us, but there's some chemical that they've got us on so that now for the rest of our lives, we're going to take this. And really, Brother Lloyd, they're not medicating the body as much so as they are medicating the body's ability to deal with the diet. So it isn't that, you know, so what we see happening is when a client comes to me for a consultation, I say, well, look, you have an inflammatory condition, high blood pressure, diabetes, heart disease, cancer, the list goes on. All of them are as a result of a metabolic insult that takes place on a daily basis, hourly, as we're eating food all throughout the day. We're insulting the body and causing this inflammation, and it shows up in varying ways inside of the body wherever we have a weakness or a nutritional deficiency.
Well, speaking of showing, go ahead.
So we have these deficiencies, but we have more so the toxicities. So I tell people fast for 3 days and tell me how you feel. 3 days fast? I can't do that. How am I going to do that? Just watch what happens after 3 days. And it's normal for after 3 days for these people to come back to me and say, my blood pressure is normal now. And my blood sugar is normal. And I haven't been taking the medication. And you know what? I feel more energy. And my arthritis isn't affecting me like it used to. And I said, this is 3 days of not eating. So now you understand the issue was not your genes. It wasn't that mama had the disease, daddy had the disease, auntie, uncle, cousin, brother, sister, neighbor, dog. None of those were the reasons why you had high blood pressure or diabetes. It's your diet.
Yeah,
so it's not genetic.
The diet is everything. In fact, I like to get primarily almost all things are organic. And some people say to me, well, don't it cost a lot of money? And I said, would you like to see a hospital bill from going there getting sick?
Yeah.
Okay. By comparison, I'd rather invest a little bit more in better quality food than to. And now they found, because I was reading not too long ago, that now cancer is getting to people that are younger in their 20s and 30s and 40s, where it wouldn't be until you were about 50, 60 or 70s before cancer started coming into play. You know,
but Lloyd, I said earlier that food has been used as a weapon to eliminate the unwanted. Okay, and I know that's a tough thing to grapple with, but diabetes there used to be two forms of diabetes: child and adult onset diabetes.
Yes.
They don't have that anymore. They call it now type 1 and type 2 because children are now getting adult onset diabetes in their literally single digit years. And likewise, blood pressure, blood sugar, arthritis, all these conditions are manifesting in our babies because of the high level of toxicity, the low level of nutrition. And again, we know also, along with the toxicity that is causing these issues inside of the body, you couple that with the lack of nutrition. And of all those places that I listed, you're not getting it. It's zero nutrition. They call it empty calories. So zero nutrition you're getting. And then you end up with these conditions. And it makes people like me look like miracle workers when people come to me and I say, oh, well, you probably have a vitamin D deficiency, but if you have a vitamin D deficiency, you probably also have a magnesium deficiency. And if you have a magnesium deficiency, you can't absorb the vitamin D, and vice versa. If you have a vitamin D deficiency, you can't absorb the magnesium. And once we take them down the road of doing what they need to do in order to build up their nutrition, delete or remove or detox from the toxicity, they find that their body comes back into a normal space of health and well-being. And it makes it, they're wondering, well, how all these years I've been going to a medical doctor, or what they call a real doctor, right? I've been going to a medical doctor and he didn't tell me the stuff that you told me. Because a medical doctor, it's not in his best interest that you be healed, because then he doesn't make any more money. So he's got to have you just marginally sick so that you can stay on his, so he can keep you as an ATM machine and print money whenever he wants.
Because the thing that most clients tell me when they go to the doctor, like they're taking high blood pressure medicine, and almost always the patient is told, well, you must take this for the rest of your life.
Right.
Nothing about, well, a change of diet might change the need to do this. Maybe you can wean yourself off of this.
No, they won't tell you that. I'm going to tell you a difference between me. I had a little situation with a client of mine, and I told her, she was suffering with high blood pressure and diabetes. I said, these are the things that I suggest that you take. And I said, I bought 2 sets. And she said, why did you buy 2 sets? I said, because I'm going to take them too. I'm going to take the very same supplements that you're taking. I'm going to fast the 3 days. I'm going to reduce the amount of food that I'm taking. I'm going to drink more water, just like you are for the next 3 weeks, just like I'm instructing you to do. I'm going to do the exact same thing that you do, because I'm going to show you, one, that it doesn't make you sicker to do it. It makes you well, and you're going to see your body get well. But something your medical doctor will not be able to do is he cannot take the supplement or the chemicals that he's telling you to take, because it will harm him. It will cause him to be sick. So the best case scenario from taking pharmaceutical drugs is that you're going to be sick.
It's interesting. The FDA recently came out about a week and a half ago talking about the harm of ultra processed. It's not just processed anymore, it's ultra processed, which means it's got more chemicals in it than before. A lot of the things on the shelves now, when you read the back of the packages, it'll say bioengineered ingredients. I never saw that before, whatever that means. And the point is, with that, none of it has anything to do. But the food lobby? The food lobby is actually fighting the FDA to prevent them from informing the public about the dangers and health risks of ultra-processed food. And they said the reason why is that it affects their profits.
Absolutely.
Imagine. They are more concerned about the money than the health of a citizen. To me, if the citizens are healthy, they can continue to buy for generations.
Right.
At least that's my thinking. Or maybe that don't make too much sense.
Lloyd, when you and I were children, we didn't know what a dialysis clinic was. Yeah. And now there's a dialysis clinic on every corner. And sometimes they're hidden. They're like in an office building, and you don't even know that they're in there. But you see how people going in all day, all night, going to get their blood filtered, which is what their organs are supposed to do. And I just ask, and I challenge your audience, do you really think that the creator that made you, or however you were created, just all of a sudden slipped up and forgot how to make kidneys? Like, the kidneys are now defunct. They're out of the box. They're just broken. The heart is broken. The pancreas is broken. The liver is broken. The brain is broken. All of this is taking place under our watch, and nobody's hollering and screaming and saying anything about it. And if I told you the number of people that die from heart disease every single day was, somewhere north of 1,500 people a day, it's probably a lot more than that.
Wow.
But 1,500 people die a day, Brother Lloyd. If I told you and your audience that 1,500 people were going to die today from flying airplanes, there would be nobody on the planes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because nobody wants to take that risk. But they'll take that risk in consuming that which they see everybody else take. And it's just like Russian roulette. When is my number going to get called? Because I know at some point my numbers, I can't keep eating this way and my number not get called. Now, the issue there is that many of us think that it's already predetermined. Well, it's predetermined when my number is going to come up, so I'm going to just enjoy myself. Well, again, we call ourselves when it's really our tongue. So our tongue enjoys what it is that we put in our mouth. And that's what the food industry has now perfected. Let's make the tongue have an enjoyable experience, and the rest of the body will have to suffer.
Yeah, yeah. It's about the taste.
Yeah, that's it. It's about taste, it's about convenience, and it's about cost. And none of those are even at the top five of what it is you should be thinking about when you sit down to eat a meal. It should be first, it should be nutrition. And the next, you should understand the spirit of the person that prepared the food. And if you don't know who
Yes,
prepared the food, then you shouldn't be eating it.
because
You
when
should
you
not
have
be
those
eating it.
people working at these chains like the Mickey D's and all that stuff, and they got this bad attitude, that energy is going into the food that they're giving you.
Yeah. Yeah. And back in the day, Big Mama used to tell somebody to get out her kitchen. If they had a bad attitude, get out my kitchen and
Yeah,
throw all that food away. Because we're not going to eat none of that with that bad spirit on it.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Boy,
Yeah.
how quickly we forget, man. That's
Yeah.
like it's deep.
Yeah.
Let me just say this. I'm going to be at brother. I'm going to taste your goodies as soon as I get there. I will be at this distinguished gentleman's venue, Elife Restaurant at 9033 Central Avenue in Capitol Heights, Maryland. This Saturday, March the 9th from 6 to 8 p.m. So everybody, please come out. Dr. Book, I really actually come down there to see you talk because this is intriguing. And I would like to have you back on again to not just promote this event, but to really explain some of the things, because what the medical profession doesn't seem to talk about or educate its, shall we say, patients is diet.
Right. Right. There's no benefit to the medical world to teach diet and nutrition. They bank on people not eating healthy and eating a poor diet and eating a high toxic diet. They bank on that so that they can benefit more. And
And you know
now
what?
we're seeing diseases, just look over the last 30 years. Now, we weren't here, 100 years ago, but over the last 30 years, Brother Lloyd, look at how many new illnesses have come out. They've got restless leg
I
syndrome.
never even heard of that. Who made
Yeah,
that up? You know what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah. And now they've got, Alzheimer's and dementia were not around, 40 years ago. All of a sudden now, they talked about salinity, but this is this new thing that's happening. And now they're calling it, in other countries, they call it type 3 diabetes, because it's the same condition that's just happening inside of the brain.
You know what's interesting? If you go to supermarkets and especially little stores in our communities, almost always there's nothing but rows and rows of candy.
Yep. Processed, like you said, hyper processed foods. But check this out, Brother Lloyd. There's so much food that's sold in America that you can't get in other countries because they don't allow it. Even countries, even what they would call developing world countries like Kenya, has the nerve and audacity to say, we don't want what y'all selling and what y'all are offering over there in America.
I heard
We
of that.
want good food for our people.
Yeah, not GMO products and stuff like
That's
that.
right. And we're eating this stuff every single day, and we get the results of it. Eating this way will get you these results. And we have to understand that there's a direct correlation. We're not genetically predisposed to illness. We're genetically predisposed to a poor diet and lifestyle, and it results in a shortened life and an unhealthy life.
Well, this is amazing. Everybody, I please want you to, and
But
please, yes.
Lloyd, we supposed to be talking about you and what you're going to be doing with numbers. We done flipped the whole thing over. I need to come on tomorrow night.
No, well, see, I've always been about health because you only got one go round.
That's right.
That I know.
Yep.
And
Yep.
and the price to get well is a very costly proposition. It's
Yes.
very expensive to get well.
Yes.
Anyway, I'm going to be running my mouth about numerology. I'll sum this up. I'm going to enjoy myself. I'm going to meet all the people. I'm going to taste this delicious menu. But I'm going to be talking about the importance of numerology. In fact, that's what I'm going to be doing in this second half, because people, like you got numbers. You see, you're born on September the 29th. So your key numbers are the 2, 7, and 6.
Right.
And what is very interesting, somebody wrote in and says, well, you never talk about the numbers that are negative. So that's what I'm going to talk about too. So just as we all have things that are good for us, like numbers, we also have numbers that are very challenging for us too. But when I'm there on Saturday, I'm going to be talking about the benefits of numerology, how numerology guides you, but more importantly, how to get all of those who are in attendance to learn how to be in the right place at the right time in harmony with the universe.
Yes.
Can't do no more than that. So when you have that coupled with good diet, but I'd rather see you talk, okay? But you know what? I'm going to have you back on so we can. I forgot all about I was supposed to be talking about what I was supposed to be doing. But we got started. But let me tell you this. This is very important, though.
Yes.
It's
Yes,
important with the
sir.
numbers, okay?
Because you won't get the numbers if you don't do this life thing right. You won't get it. So again, we look forward to you. And there's so many people that are calling. Are you going to be doing consultations? Are you going to be able to meet with them personally and help them through some of their issues? And I can tell you, Brother Lloyd, when I first was exposed to astrology and numerology, I grew up in the good Christian church, and it was like,
amen.
This was like taboo. Like, you don't mess with that.
It does like this, which you
right.
See, just like, boy, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And then when I heard you speak on it, and then I saw you talk about it and do the consultations with people in an open forum, you were telling them about what's going to be going on in their life this year, or what's going on in their life overall, and what kind of person they were, and the type of person. I remember as a relationship scenario where you were talking to people about these are the people that you're compatible with and the ones that you're not compatible with. And it was really interesting to watch this unfold. And in my mind, I watched it unravel and get unwrapped and repackaged. And I realized that this is a real science.
Yes,
this isn't just some stuff that you just came up with and you throwing it out there. This is science. So I'm really excited about seeing you come down here and talk to our people here.
Yeah, and we're talking about maybe even doing it on a regular basis after this too.
Yes.
But
yes.
Dr. Baruch, thank you so much, buddy. And
this
is nice. But I'm going to have you back on to talk about diet.
Yes.
So people can understand how important it is to how to eat to live, not eat to go the other way. Okay.
Yep.
All right. So,
all right. Thank you.
Thank you. And by the way, I'm going to be at Dr. Baruch's venue at 9033 Central Avenue in Capitol Heights, Maryland, this Saturday. Please be in attendance. And this is, and he's got two centers. So they're right next door to each other, you said?
Right next door. Yep. The restaurant is right next door to the event space.
Good. And this is the event space where I'll be speaking?
Yes.
All right. Looks kind of roomy. Okay.
Yes.
Good. Thank you.
Let's fill it up.
In the meantime, have a blessed day, Dr. Baruch, and bless you too. See you in a couple of days. All right.
Yes, sir. Bless you. Thank you.
Okay. Everybody, I want to thank Dr. Baruch. The brother is like amazing. I don't care what nobody says. All right. At the bottom of the screen, you will still see his everything, so you can see how to get in touch with him, the address of the venue for Saturday, and I think he's asked me to stay up until Sunday too, just in case there's a spillover. He is going to be having copies of my book available that I'll autograph, and I'm going to be introducing a brand new product that will be a surprise. But in the meantime, though, there was a person that wrote in and says, "Well, Lloyd, what about numbers that give me problems?" You know, every time I talk to people, I'm always talking about, well, these are your numbers, these are your days. Well, you know what? You have numbers that also give you challenges too. And that's what I'm going to be talking about, because which is one of the reasons why I developed my Star 8 app, ASTAR number 8 app. Because when you go there, not only do you see your lucky numbers in green, you see your stress numbers in red. So I'm going to start with the numbers, the birthdays, and the signs, because this includes them too. So if you were born on the 1st, the 10th, the 19th, or the 28th of the month, all come under the signs of Leo and or Aquarius, and a minor way Aries, you'll find that the numbers that tend to give you problems would be the 8 and the 6. What do I mean? That means dates such as the 6th, the 8th, the 15th, the 17th, the 24th, the 26th of the month. And speaking of the months, it means the months that would be more challenging to a number one, or those under the signs governed by Leo and Aquarius and Aries. Those would be the months of January, May, and October. Now, when I say that, that means late December as you hit January, late April as you hit May, late September as you hit October. And I've noticed that even when your age hits that number, so let's say you have a number one person or Leo or an Aquarius or whatever the case is, and they happen to be in their 17th birthday. 1 plus 7 is 8. It might have been a traumatic year for them. Or let's say they're 33. 3 plus 3 is 6. So you got to take the age into consideration too. Is your age at the time adding up to one of the challenging numbers that will affect you? What about if a person is born on the 2nd, the 11th, the 20th, or the 29th of the month, like Dr. Baruch, my guest, or they come under the sign of Cancer? The number that tends to be more problematic for them would be the 9 and the 8. What does that mean? That means all dates such as the 8th or the 9th, the 17th or the 18th, the 26th or the 27th of the month, and especially in the months of January, April, and November. And I mean by that, late December into January, late March into April, late October into the month of November, or if their ages at the time where they had a dramatic accident or illness or setback could have been around about, say, 27, 2 plus 7 is 9, or 44, 4 plus 4 is 8, things of that nature. So don't forget, whenever your age number is matching one of these challenging numbers, it means that in that year, that particular year might be a bump in the road for you, because we all have bump in the roads. Everything ain't all smooth sailings, okay? Number 3, people, for those of you who are born on the 3rd, the 12th, the 21st, or the 30th of the month, or if you're under the signs of Pisces and or Sagittarius, well, your oppositional numbers are the 5 and the 4. Now, what does that mean? That means dates that would oppose you would be the 4th and the 5th, the 13th and the 14th, the 22nd, 23rd, and 31st of the month, particularly on the months of February, June, August, and September. So that means late January into February, late May into June, late July into August, and late August into the month of September. Now, it doesn't happen to mean that every time one of these stress dates come up, you're going to get it or you got to hide under a rock. No, but I'm saying that if anything does happen, my experiences normally has been that these will be the months and the dates and the years that will normally bring that about. So now let's say you got somebody born on the 4th of the month, or the 13th of the month, or the 22nd or 31st of the month, or if they come under the signs of Aquarius and or Leo and or Gemini. Well, they will find that their opposition numbers are always the 6 primarily and the 8. So that means dates such as the 6th or the 8th, the 15th or the 17th, the 24th, the 26th of the month. And especially in the months of, for example, January, May, and October. So late December into January, late April into May, late September into October. And you'll find that in these months, it could have been a setback, the passing away of a relative, or an accident, or a breakup, or loss of a job. These are, just as you have highs, you got lows. And these are the lowest points. And so normally, if you notice, with my shows, I normally don't talk about this, only because somebody requested it. And I said, okay, I'm always giving out people's lucky numbers and stuff. Let me tell you the numbers that are stressful, which is why I designed my mobile app, Star 8. Okay. So number 5, people, their challenging numbers primarily are the 8 and the 3. So that means all dates such as the 3rd or the 8th, the 12th or the 17th, the 21st or the 26th or the 30th of the month, especially in Saturdays and Fridays, as these would be the more challenging days for them. It doesn't mean that every Saturday is a stress day, every Friday is a stress day, but normally if they do hit a bump in the road, it's likely to be late Friday into Saturday and late Wednesday into Thursday. All right. And so that also means for them that the months of January, March, and December are normally their stressful times, such as late January, late December as you hit January, late February as you hit March, and late November as you hit the month of December. So number 6, people, okay? So if you, by the way, when I say Gemini 5, that means when I say the 5, the 5, the 5th, the 14th, the 23rd, that means Geminis and Virgos. Because don't forget, each number is also assigned to the signs in the zodiac too. All right. So number 6 people born on the 6th, the 15th or the 24th of the month, or if you are under the sign of Taurus or Libra, which is governed by the number 6. Your most challenging number is always, or numbers are always the 4 followed by the 1, especially on a Sunday. So that's late Friday into Sunday. And especially in the periods of February and August primarily, which means late January as you hit February, late July as you hit August, or if your birthday happens to add, or the age you are happens to be like, so you have a number 6 person and they could be at their 40th birthday and wonder know why they're having some challenges this year. But it all depends on a couple of other things too, what personal cycle you're going through, what pinnacle you're in, what challenges. I mean, there's so many dimensions, but in a basic general way, you can tell that these would be the numbers that will, or days that will give you problems. And these are the days that people will tell you, yes, I remember in that month that this happened, that month that wasn't good, or whatever the case is like that. And I've experienced that in my personal life too, which is also what got me to see these things. All right. Number 7 people, if you're born on the 7th, the 16th, or the 25th of the month, or if you come under the sign of Cancer, or in a minor way, the sign of Pisces. Number 8, more than anything, is normally challenging. Yet I've found in my experience that people born on the 7th, the 16th, and the 25th normally will have 8 drawn to them for whatever reason. Maybe because 7 is water and 8 is earth. I have no idea, but I know that's been the experience. And Saturday would be the more problematic day. That is late Friday into Saturday. If there are any problems, that is the day that's likely to stand out like a sore thumb. And they will find that the months of January will also be problematic. So that is, as they kick off the new year, if they find themselves in a funk or something like that, that would make all the sense in the world to me. Number 8 people, if you're born on the 8th, the 17th, or the 26th of the month, okay? Or it represents those under the signs of Capricorn or Aquarius. Well, your problematic numbers would be the 4 and the 5. So such dates as the 4th or the 5th, the 13th and the 14th, the 22nd, the 23rd, and the 31st of any month. And especially on Sundays and Wednesdays. And in fact, since this year is the year of the 8th, and 8 rules constipation is one of the health indicators for this year, I was saying that the meatless days should be Wednesday and Sunday. And now you know why, because these are problematic days to this number, which is 8. All right. And this whole year is the year of the 8. So I'm saying that maybe listening to Dr. Baruch, maybe take a clue and, cut back and do a fast for 24 hours. Or if you eat, just make sure there's not a lot of meat or something like that. All right. And the months that are challenging to the number 8 is always in February, June, August, and September. So that means late January as you hit February, late May as you hit June, late July as you hit August, and late August and then September. These will always be the stress months. And especially if the number 8 is reaching their 22nd birthday, or their 49th birthday, or their 50th birthday, or their 23rd or 14th or 13th birthday. Because if you notice, all those ages added up to the single digit to represent their opposition numbers, which is a 4 and a 5. And finally, saving the best for last, number 9, those who are born on the 9th, the 18th, or the 27th of any month. All right. And especially if you are assigned under Aries or Scorpio, which is governed by this number, because each number and sign is ruled by a common planet. This is why I always interchange numbers in relationship to the signs too, because the common glue that ties the two, which is signs and numbers of the planets that rule it, in this case, Mars. So that means that the number 2 and 7 are normally challenging or problematic to them. Alrighty. So that means dates such as the 2nd or the 7th, the 11th or the 16th, the 20th, the 25th, or the 29th of the month. These are not always rock solid, because you got to understand, I'm taking the birthdays, and then you got a sign and a birth number too. So that would make the difference. So we'll do that when I open up the phones in the comment section in a moment. So that means of all the days that give number 9's problems, it's Monday. I would never. Now, let me tell you how it works. Let's say I'm on the demonic kind of evil one of those bad kind of numerologists. I ain't liking you. And I said to number 9, yeah, man, you need to really go set that appointment up on Monday, their worst day. Man, by the time they come out that interview, they're going to be looking for me with their hands around my neck and stuff like that. So, and it's not that. So, now, here are the exceptions: Monday the 9th, Monday the 18th, Monday the 17th, because the date overpowers the day. Let me repeat, the date always overpowers the day, and the day always overpowers the month. This is why I developed the concept in my A Star 8 app. So you have 2, 3, 4 stars because I'm dealing with your number first. Then is it falling on your best day? And is it falling in your best month? All right. So that's how it works. And it took me a while to figure this out. But let me tell you, the count, I can, if you give me your birthday, I can tell you in my mind mentally whether you're having a red star day, a green star day, a double red, double green, triple red, triple green. It's just that simple. All of that is right here. That's why I'm saying it is so important that we turn on the computers in our brains that we all have. All right. And the worst time for number 9 is always in the challenge of July. So it's late June into July. All right. So that's the short of it. I answered that question. So I want to thank all of those who kind of write in and give me hints about talk, because there's so many things to talk about. But I always like to stay positive about, well, these are your numbers, these are your days, these are your months. But so when I get to the comment section, I'm going to talk about your numbers, but I'm also talking about the numbers that are challenging, because don't forget, I was reading the numbers, but a person might be under this side, but born under that number. So that would modify it. So they may have more than just one number according to it. And I'll give you a demonstration in just a moment. So let me go to the comment section. Um, Here's one right here. This is Go Quality TV. Thank you so much for the donation. They're born on April the 24th. Okay. So they would be a Taurus 6 person. Now, this is simple because the 4, by the way, 6 rules the sign of Taurus. So this would always be the same number. So primarily it would be the number 4, okay, and also the number 1. So that means if you have any challenges, Go Quality TV, that means that those periods of February and August and um, uh, February, August primarily would be more problematic to you, you know. And so, but by the way, but on the positive side, your key numbers are the 6, 9, and 3. So since you are gifted with the arts or music or dance or theater or drama, and in fact, you would do well in the arts, you would do well in business like television, not TV, but real estate, banking, law, and you would do well in the area of service like a coach or teacher or professor or something of that nature. You know what I'm saying? So this would be very important. All right, so let me go with some other persons here. Um, and listen, I gotta thank all of you very, very much for the way you show my guests. I do appreciate that, because that is my thing. Okay, Nina from Capitol Heights, that means I'm going to see you in the place, okay, on Saturday, the 9th. And to King Simon, who knows King Simon know everybody. He know the people in the martial arts. I mean, who don't that brother know? How does he do that? Okay, but anyway, let's see. This is Cheryl Lee. Peace and blessings. Dr. Baruch, his restaurant is in my neighborhood and my company services his HVAC, whatever that means. His restaurant and knowledge he brings to the neighborhood is phenomenal. So Cheryl Lee, I look forward to seeing you there also on Saturday. All righty. And so it'll be for 2 days. Greeting Lloyd and from Manchester, they bought my book. Thank you very, very much, Imhotep. In fact, you chimed in, I think on Monday, um, with my guest that I had on, uh, Jamila Shabazz. Okay. She said she's gonna be in. She said she's gonna be in Houston. Well, anyway, please let people know and have a nice time in Houston too. And for King Simon, I certainly will let Dr. Baruch know you send in his love and everything. So this is Darius, Capitol Heights check-in from the Maryland side. That actually is a good restaurant. Been there several times. Okay, Darius, and I look for you on Saturday too, buddy. It's just that simple. Let me see. That's interesting. Karen says, I with my husband attended a meeting hosted by Dr. Baruch years ago, enlightening and education. The brother's brilliant. The brother's brilliant. You know what I'm saying? And we all need to learn how to eat to live, not just to satisfy the taste bud. And I've had my good friend who is a chef on, and he says a lot of times we eat with our eyes. We don't eat with the purpose of, is it nutritional? Does it benefit the body? No, we're going to do anything like that. Okay. Cheryl Lee also says the new place is much larger than the previous, and the place has held some very distinguished speakers and events, not to mention the healthy veggies, fruits, and food that is given away by Doc. I plan to be there. Okay. Thanks, King Simon, for letting us know that Dr. Baruch also wrote a health book. That's why I'm going to have him back on. Really, really, folks. I was supposed to be talking about me. I got so distracted because food is very, very important. And we really should eat to live. All of us are going to leave this planet anyway. At least we should leave it in some style, okay? Not a burden to our family, a burden to ourselves in constant pain. And, you know, the only ones that seem to do well are people that's running these industries. So I'm just saying, okay? All right, so let me see who else I can get. Malnourished with a million side effects. Yeah, this is something talking about all the things that a lot, you know, I'm going to tell you this. My sister used to be a nurse, and she used to have this, what is called the physician's reference book. I think that was the title. It was a thick book, but in this book, all the medications that are given out here that people take, you can read what the benefits are. What I love reading was what the negatives were. Almost always the negatives was twice as long as the benefits. So that's why if you listen to some of these commercials, don't take this as so and so, it might cause death or something. I mean, they will tell you that so everything needs to be in moderation. But the way they put it is that you got to be on these things for life. Okay. So anyway, true, I never heard of dialysis centers. No, none of these things. A lot of these things, all of these things that they have out here now that you hear on these commercials, 15, 20, 30 years ago, 50 years ago, they wasn't even, it was like a who? You know what I'm saying? When the person had diabetes, they were really up in age. They were about to have an amputation or something of that nature. So, I mean, it was really, really no joke. Okay. Nowadays, as kids are getting it, it's like, how do you do that? Sister Maya, thank you very much for the monthly forecast. I'm going to talk about that in a second, too. I'm just trying to get some people who left birthdays. Okay. But I am going to have him back on. This is Brother Randall Anderson, a.k.a. DJ Bucket Naked. Okay, DJ, if you say so. He is a Sagittarius 8. Now, here's what I'm saying. If I look at his 8, right, I know that 5 and 4 are his opposition numbers. He's also under the sign of Sagittarius, so I'd have to throw in the number 3 or the number 5 also. So although his key numbers would be the 8, the 3, and the 6, his opposition numbers would be the 4 and the 5. Those two numbers primarily. If he was to download my app, he'd see that in green, the numbers that would be to his benefit would be the 6, the 3, and the 6. The 8, 3, and 6. Those would be the order of it. But the 4 and 5 in red would be his opposition numbers. So that means his stress days would be more on Sundays and Wednesdays. So I tell him on those days to take it easy. On those days that are stressful, not to put all of his eggs in one basket. In those days, don't try to take everything to the bank, okay? In those days, use a measure of caution, especially if there's some risk or challenges involved. So it's the timing, and it's not that you can't get past these stress days. It's just how you do it. You just don't, you know what it's like? It's like, folksies, going against the tide. You and I know, and Mother Nature will prove it if you haven't learned it. If you're trying to swim against the tide, that's a wrap. It's always better if you go with the tide. The tide carries you along and takes you there faster to your destiny. So when I talk about these stress numbers, that's like trying to swim upstream. And swimming upstream is not easy when the water is coming downstream. So if you can kind of take that from there, that would help. Okay. This is 76 Monica. This resonates. I lost my dad at September 24th of 2001, and they're a Leo. And see, so their numbers are the 8, the 4, and the 1. So that means the 5 and the 6 are the stress numbers. And you see right there, and 6 rules the sign of Libra, by the way. Okay. So it's those kinds of things. And I didn't want to say be likely to lose a family or something like that, but these are sometimes things that can be bumps in the roads, and it includes loss of family, loss of a relationship, loss of a job, loss of a home. The losses come in all kinds of ways, and it simply means it's simply when you're at the lowest point in your cycle. And since we all have highs and lows, it is to your advantage to understand that so you can take advantage. If it is raining, you don't go out there with no umbrella or rain boots or raincoat. You gotta, prepare for the elements. So this is 100% Rotten Podcast, okay, 100%. Um, August the 4th. So they would be a Leo 4 person. Their key numbers would be the 4, 1, and 5. So once I know that the 6 and the 8 are oppositional numbers to this person. And when I mean that, that means the oppositional days to them would be on a Sunday, and because that's the 6, and since they have 4, 1, and 4, 1, and 5, so that means the 3 and the 6, 6 first and 3. And so that means Fridays and Thursdays would not be their best days unless it's Friday the 4th, Friday the 13th, Friday the 22nd. In other words, if the date falls on one of those stress days, it kind of nullifies it. It kind of smooths it out. Okay. And so that would be it. And it tells you to like to think outside the box. And this year is your year to really get into more details about things and more to be conscious of your dietary laws too. All righty. Okay. This person said they're number 2 person and had a horrible accident when they were 42. So since this age added up to a 6 and they're born on the 2nd, that means they could have been born on February the 2nd, the 11th, the 20th, or August the 2nd, the 11th, or the 20th, or July the 29th, or January the 29th. I mean, that's the only way I can reach it, because 6s and 2s are normally very friendly to each other. What is not friendly to the 6 is the 4. Okay. And things like this you learn. This is why it's okay. Let me see this person. Hi, being that the 8 and 6 are my challenging numbers, are they also money numbers? And what does that mean? This is from Nina. She's born on the 28th. So her numbers are the 1, 4, and 9, which makes her a Scorpio. So yes, the 6, 8, and the 2, because the 2 goes against the 9, which governs Scorpio. So that would be the additional number. So it means that your challenging days would therefore be on a Monday, a Friday, and a Saturday, where your best days are always on a Sunday and a Tuesday and a Thursday. Those would be your best days. And it simply means to just be more mindful, be tactful. But that's the whole point of downloading my Star 8 app that I'll bring to your attention. And I'm not trying to get you to say, well, yeah, download it. But I'm trying to tell you that as we have highs, we have lows. And I'm always trying to put emphasis on the positive. And sometimes somebody even said, Lloyd, you always talk about the positive. Isn't there negatives? Yeah, but we all do negative with each other. I already know I ain't this and I ain't that, and I should have been then. Tell me something else I don't know. Be different. So this is Cinematic Brothers, David Tavares, on August the 20th. They would be a borderline case. Now, this would still be under the sign of Libra. So they would have 4 numbers, 2, 7, 1, and 4. So that means their stress numbers would be the 9, followed by the 6, followed by the 8. So Monday, Tuesday, and Saturday would be their challenging days, where their best days would be on Sunday and Monday, and in a minor way, Wednesday. Those would be it too. And it tells me that this person, as I always say, when I see a guy with a number 2 or any date like that, that women are your blessing and your curse, but in a nice way. Sometimes women will give you a hard way to go. Sometimes they'll be right in your corner, but who knows? It also tells me very psychic, very intuitive too. But your challenging numbers are the 9, the 8, and the 6. And your challenging days would therefore be Tuesday, which rules the 9, Friday, which rules the 6, and 8 that rules Saturday. Okay. So don't forget, each number rules a day too. All righty. So let's see. Okay. And thanks for all the compliments that y'all send too. Now, this person here is Deep, Sun Deep, aka Sunny One. The name is Sundeep Sen Guru. They are a water sign with an earth number. So their key numbers, and see, that's how I started. Well, your key numbers are always the 2, 7, and 5. But what I'm going to talk about now, since we are talking about the stress side of things, is that your stress numbers, therefore, would be the 9, the 8, and the 3. So that means Tuesday and Thursday and Saturday would be more your challenging days. Where on the reverse side, your best days are Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Okay? But the beautiful part about the women, I noticed this. Women can almost tell instinctively what their best days are. You ask a guy, if it ain't a Saturday, Sunday sports day, what are we talking about? Okay, those are our days, all right? But for women, they almost intuitively can sense that I think this day is always better for me or that day. So what I'm saying is, guys, we can take a couple of pages from the sisters up in here and begin to pay attention because we all have days that are very good for us. And we have days that I call it the bump in the roads, not days that like, oh man, you're going to be like, okay, things like that. All right. Anyway, let me see something. Okay, I read Sunny. I read Quality Goat. Okay, got that. You were the first one I read. So let me move down this way. And I'm going to take Tori Carter, who is a Libra 4 person. So their key numbers are the 4, 1, and 5, but their opposition numbers are the 6 and the 8. So that means Friday and Saturday are normally more problematic. Okay, there are some exceptions as that's thought about. It all depends on what day you were born on. So let's say in this case of Tori, that Friday and Saturday are one of their stress days, but that's one of the days they were born on. That would kind of offset it a little bit. But again, there are so many other factors. But in a program like this, where I have very little time, this is why I need a one-on-one where I can take my time and really analyze things with any of my guests, really. They're here, we can just give a broad brushstroke, basically. But basically, that would be it. So the 6 and the 8 would be your stress numbers, which means Friday and Saturday would be your stress days. And for Chris, your numbers are the 9, 1, and 4 being in Aquarius. So that means your opposition numbers are the 2, followed by the 6, followed by the 8. So that means that a Monday and a Friday and a Saturday are no days for you. But your best days will be a Sunday and a Tuesday. In a minor way, a Thursday would be better for you too. And this year, you being in a 9 personal year, that tells me quite a bit. I'm going to take about 1 or 2 more, and then I'm going to have to wrap this up because there's things I want to say. Mystic Cancer, July the 3rd. So that means your numbers are the 3, 2, and 7. So once I know that, the way my brain works is like, okay, so if those are your numbers, these are the numbers that would oppose these digits. 5 opposed to 3, 8 opposed to 3, and 9 opposed to sign of Cancer. So those will be your opposition numbers, the 8, the 5, and the 8, the 5, and the 9 in that order. And you will see if you were to download my app and you check and put in your birthday, the 3, 2, and 7 will be in green, and the 8, the 5, the 8, and the 9 in that order would be in red. Okay. But this is going to be an interesting year for you. In fact, you're in one of your challenging cycles because you're now in the 9 personal year. And since 9 is kind of challenging to you, it's not that you can't get through it, but 9 rules accidents and arguments and confrontation. So take your time. Don't let nobody sweat you. Let water roll off your back like a duck, as they say, and you will be fine. All righty. So I'm going to just take one more, and there's some things I need to explain. And I will take one more after that, just because Adwater just gave a donation, so I can't leave them out in this sense. Okay, so in the case of a fly, your numbers are the 8, the 6, and the 5. So that means your stress numbers are the 4 and the 3. That's what that would mean. Okay, and that means Sundays and Thursdays will be more challenging. And that means that the months of February and March and August and December would be more challenging months to you. So if you look at the time you've had setbacks or challenges, they more on those days I mentioned or on those months that I mentioned also. And I'm going to take this only because this came as a last minute donation. I do want to thank them. April 16th, a Brit Adwater must be in Egypt on that camel or somewhere in Saudi Arabia, something on the camel. But regardless, Your key numbers are the 7, 2, and 6. So that means that 8 and 4s would be your challenging numbers. So when I say 8s and 4s, that means Saturday rules the 8, Sunday rules the 4, and therefore those. So if you've ever had some changes on the weekends, that means late Thursday into Friday, Friday into Saturday, and you want to know why things is giving you. No, excuse me. I'm sorry. I stand corrected because actually Friday is one of your best days, followed by Monday. So when I say the 8 and the 4, that means Saturday and Sunday. I stand corrected. Okay. I do make mistakes every now and then, but when I catch it, I'm the first to own up to it. Okay. That's one thing. So Andrew, thank you so much for the donation. And in fact, when I look at it this year, you're in a 1 year, which means this is a year for you to start fresh all over again. I'll be one of the first to wish you happy birthday coming up next month. Mercury's going to be in retrograde. There's going to be a solar eclipse on the 8th. I'll be talking about that when I do the forecast. Okay. So I want to thank everybody, but I do want to mention a couple of things too. Evidently, somebody says I'm getting popular, whatever that's supposed to mean. As you know, started about last week with this scam. Somebody is definitely trying to get your money under the pretext of using my name. Please be aware of it. This is another scam. It's all depending on how they spell it. Notice they had numbers in you and an underscore with this one. Then they had an @ going into numbers in you. And they even took some of my images and whatnot from TikTok. So please be very, very careful. And this is some of the language. They'll call you love. I don't address nobody in the terms of love other than my kids. I love my kids. All right. That's it. They don't have no choice about that. But I don't say, hey, love, like we got it like that. No, I don't address anybody in that language. My mother raised me better than that. This is the one that just came out yesterday. This was on YouTube. Okay. And when you click on it, it took you to a site that wasn't mine. And I already saw this site earlier tonight, just before I got on. So what I'm saying is I will never ask any of you for money. That I don't roll like that. I really don't. I mean, I need money like everybody else. It'd be nice to have money like everybody else, but I'm not going to take advantage of it. I will never be. So what my viewers can do for me, if you see things like this, whoops, like this, or this, or this, or something like this. Can you report it for me, please? I can't stay on top of everybody. Somebody said, oh, you must be getting famous. Well, if that's the case, I'm not impressed. Okay. And for those of you who are doing that, y'all need to get a life. All right. That's what you need to do. So instead of trying to copy my stuff, you should be creative. That's why God gave us a mind. That's why I say you need to think for yourself or somebody's doing your thinking for you. That tells me I'm doing your thinking. The fact you would even try to imitate me. All right. So got that out the way. Another thing is people have asked me about the newsletter. The newsletter is out. The March edition is out. What I did was something very unique, which was a delay. So the delay of your newsletter, totally, I take full responsibilities for that. But what happens is I've decided to add a new component to the newsletter. So for those of you who got it, if you read your respective zodiac signs, okay, you will see that I have listed a link where you can go here. It's taken from the podcast I do with Miss Kimberly each month. And what she's done is she put a timestamp. So because, I've got only but so much limited space to do the newsletter, I mean, to see get the full depth, the full expression, the full way I convey it across, the written word is totally different than the spoken word. So what I'm saying is go to this site, and this is her site here on YouTube. And just click in March 2024 Astronumerology forecast by zodiac sign LLoyd Strayhorn, and then you can watch either the entire thing or click on description, and then it'll say more, and it'll give you the timeline. So you can guys click on the number for your sign, and you'll see that what I wrote and what I said are two different things. I try to, when you write, you got to kind of spruce it up in terms of grammatical errors and grammar and stuff like that. But when I'm talking, I'm freestyling, it's a whole different flavor. So that's what took long. So from this moment on, when I send you the newsletter, you will also be able to go and get the timestamp that I'll make providing. All righty. So as I wrap it up, for those of you who want to get have Lloyd in your pocket, as my kids say, just go to the website and you can go to astar8.com or go to your Google or your Android phone and download it from there. People have said that they've been having problems. I've found, other than me passing the word on to the developers to make the correction, I tell some of them to uninstall, then reinstall, and they said things work fine. I've had about 3 or 4 people that reached out to me. But if you should have any problems at all, go to the bottom of star8llc@gmail.com and make sure that whatever the problem is, I will pass it on to my developer. But if it's something with the phone, there was somebody that sent even a screenshot of how they was doing it, and I saw what they meant. It was beyond me, so I sent it to my developer, who is going to get back to them in a timely fashion. And for those of you who are into TikTok, well, I'm on there. It's very, very interesting. And so anyway, I want to thank everybody very, very much. I'm hoping to have an astrologer on Monday to talk about some of the things that are happening in the cosmos. And he's been on before. I like the guy. Okay, he kind of tells it the way he sees it, and I just haven't cleared it with him yet. And in fact, I'm going to be reaching out to him to ask, can he do that? And then on Monday, I'm going to have a lady that talks about hair. Wednesday of next week. She's been working with hair since she was a teenager, and she's going to tell you about some of the do's and don'ts of your hair, how to better take care of your hair. That's just for the ladies, all right? So anyway, I want to thank everybody. I want to thank Dr. Baruch, but more importantly, for those of you who will be in the area. And by the way, let me say that the show has been brought to you by, let me say this first. I will be at Dr. Baruch, so take a screenshot. I will be at their restaurant, Elife restaurant at 9033 Central Avenue in Capitol Heights, Maryland, this Saturday, March the 9th from 6 to 9 p.m. And this gives you an idea. He's next door is the restaurant, and this is where the event's going to take place. You see there's a whole bunch of people up in there. That's a whole lot of folks. But anyway, that's where I'll be. But I look forward to it. And you see at the bottom of the screen, I've been running it since, of how you get in touch. Also the phone number, which is in this case, once you register at Life Center, Hampton Park.com, just go to 301-324-6900 to find out. Everybody, thank you very, very much. Yes, I was supposed to be talking about me, but I'd rather talk about somebody else. And food is very important, and all of us are affected by what we eat. So please, all of you, take good care of yourselves, all righty, for me, and have a great weekend. For those in the DC, Maryland, Virginia area, hopefully I'll get a chance to see you in person. Have a blessed day. Bye-bye.